All right, so now we are live. So if you wanna,
Welcome back.
who wants to build the overview, David? Since you found it, you're on the hook.
Yeah. So, pipes. Awesome new tech that we built. Super fast tech. Hard to use in some cases. We want to have adapters for going from pipe to stream and stream to pipe. That's the general idea. In ASP.NET Core 3, we're exposing pipelines on the actual HTTP context, but we still have stream. So we have to do this trick where if you replace the pipe or the stream and get either one, it has to work. So we're doing all kinds of tricks to make that work. And in the meantime, we have to actually write adapters that go from pipe to stream and stream to pipe. So these exist already in various forms in different libraries, and we want to make it like a first-class thing in pipelines. So we can have two main APIs, one that goes from pipe to stream, and then stream to pipe. So yeah, we scroll down.
Yeah.
Yes, the first one are extensions on the actual pipe reader, pipe writer. Wait, scroll up. Too fast. Yeah, there. If you want to go from a pipe reader to a readable stream, you call pipe reader.addStream. There's a bool that we'll talk about later on. Pipe writer, the same thing. If you want to go from pipe writer to a stream, you call addStream, and then for a duplex pipe, the same thing. Pipe only has async API, so we had that bool allows synchronous I/O. That would throw if you call a synchronous write or not. Yeah, it's kind of awful, but
I wouldn't always have it be false, like not even have the option.
So that would be fine. We do have a case in ASP.NET Core where we let you turn it back on, but it's off by default. So we kind of want it to be off by default. But if you go through the pain of turning it on, then you know what you're doing.
On streams, we have those query methods for all other capabilities
Correct.
that may not work. I think
You know, add new one?
that one, I kind of don't like it unless we can use synchronous operations.
That ends up being on stream. That requires a new standard.
That's a whole
Requires
another ball.
But otherwise, like you get a stream and you don't know, and you're like, I mean, that's bad.
I know.
Like,
Could we
Get it?
the answer for
David,
this immediately is everyone who wants to use this, if they're passing a stream to a library they don't understand, is they're now going to wrap this stream with another stream that just does sync over async.
Yes.
So we should do that because Steve knows how to do it the right way.
There's no right way to do it. There's just I mean, there's no good way to do that. This is mostly like we need to support sync over async in ASP.NET Core sometimes and sometimes throw.
Why we cannot always emulate it?
Because it kills the perf.
Okay,
Who cares?
fine. Yeah, exactly.
Who cares?
If someone's calling the synchronous method, they're calling the synchronous method.
No,
And
they may call it indirectly. The reason it's there is because like stream supports the overload. The reason why it's disabled is because you may call it indirectly by calling some APIs, and we want to throw in some cases. That's why it's like there in the first place.
I mean, it just seems.
How would you prevent if someone wrote their own wrapper that Jeremy talked about?
Well, I don't care. If you go through that amount of pain to do blocking calls, then that's your problem. This is more like, hey, if you're doing the wrong thing, you'll know because we'll throw. And then if you want to actually go through the pain and work around it, you can call pass-in false, and then you kill your perf.
I don't know.
But you're
People
opting into
who either directly or indirectly call synchronous APIs on streams, they already either don't know what they are doing or they don't care.
Yeah, but then if you don't know, then you won't have a perf problem. But the issue today is that if you get a certain scale, you hit a perf issue, and you can't really fix it. And you don't know until it's too late. In this case, it would throw from the get-go. It wouldn't even like pass to begin with. So you wouldn't be in a situation where it kind of works for now, but then as you get more skill, it starts like failing here.
And if someone's using a library they don't control?
Yeah, that's like the
Was that-
moment you're using a library, that takes a stream.
Then it forces somebody else
Yeah,
to
so what?
file an issue on the library and disable this temporary.
It's a forcing function, right?
The library would fix it.
You can't control it, but
It feels very weird to me.
why?
Because there are APIs that were basically saying, do you want these to work or not based on a Boolean that's passed in? And we can make them work, they just don't perform the way we would ideally. They don't perform the way if you were to use different overloads. This is basically like an obsolescence mechanism or something that's controlled via a parameter to a method. It feels very strange.
Obsolescence through exceptions. That's basically what it is.
That's what you get when you use an abstract-based
You're
class.
like, we don't want you to call this API. Boom, exception.
Yeah.
So
I have to say, like,
think about how you design your case today, right? You do a base class and you add new functionality, and either you have a good default implementation. If you don't, you add a can blah. That's the pattern we have today, right?
Yeah,
So
but-
I agree. If we had a can do sync IO on streams, that would be fine, but that
No,
requires a
but
lot more
that's,
changes.
I would say that's slightly different. I would say that that kind of depends on how you evolve the base stuff library from the get-go, right? So for example, if you look at our collection library of stream APIs, they always had the mode of like, well, a collection might be readable or might be read-only. A stream might be seekable or it might not be seekable, right? So as soon as you start consuming a stream, from day one, you design your APIs along those lines, right? So
Problem
for
is
example,
it-
if you say xdocument.load, well, you would expect it to, not write. So if it would write, you would expect it to fail. The problem here is that from the get-go, Stream had synchronous APIs. Later on, we added asynchronous APIs. Now you live in a world where it's very hard for a customer to reason about which streams support it because it's kind of completely orthogonal to the actual thing versus read versus write. Well, it's kind of obvious. So I think like in this case, if you do a fast forward 5 years later after we ship this API, if you look at call side, how many people pass in true?
Everyone.
Because if everybody passes in true, what's the point? Like
Because this Boolean is bool. Do you want stuff to work?
yeah,
Think of it more like by default we'll slap you on the wrist. And if you want to work on that slapping on the wrist, then you can just pass in true, right? And then you're opting into to killing yourself, right? It's not really like a thing. And by the way, this is a hill I'll die on. I put it in there to have a discussion, so I'm fine having it not be there. And then it's true. In ASP.NET Core, we will have a bool and we'll wrap the stream ourselves. That's what we'll
So
do.
one thing, okay, so what about the following? I don't know if Steve will like this compromise, but if the default was true,
Yeah.
meaning by default, if you don't pass this parameter, it always works. It's just slow.
Sure.
And then somebody who's obsessed with performance can pass, disable this feature. It's my code.
Sure.
I think that would.
Yeah, so either we don't have the bool or we wrap the stream and we allocate again.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, I mean,
ASP.NET
my
got-
preference would. I don't have a super strong opinion. Like, I'm also not going to die on any hills in general. Yeah. The Boolean just feels weird to me. So I would say, like, my preference would be we don't have the bool. I don't care after that whether the implementation throws or not. I just kind of would like it for it to be always the same. But again, I don't feel strongly.
Well, if we did true by default, or if we inverted the name to deny synchronous I/O or something, then ASP.NET or people who care about perf can also have an analyzer that says, anytime you see this method, you should be passing in the opposite.
Yeah.
Nah,
I feel
like,
that the default should be make things
We'll
work.
wrap it.
And,
We'll wrap it,
and
it's
opting
fine.
into perfect.
that's fine. Kill the arguments. We'll wrap it.
Why would you want to wrap it?
Want to? We don't want to.
That's why it's
I'm
there.
fine. Like
Why would you wrap it, not just have an alternative implementation of this?
a copy. Why?
No, not a copy.
He just wants
This
to wrap
does
the
all the
stream
hard work.
throw
Like,
from all the synchronous methods.
yeah, that's all
He
we're
just
gonna
wants to stop ASP.NET from calling synchronous read.
do. Right.
I know.
By default,
What I'm
and then-
saying, instead of wrapping the stream, just have a stream that does that.
That
Or-
defeats the purpose of having this in the first place. Then we'll have two of them.
Yeah, that would be for general .NET customers. And the other
Okay,
one
sure,
would
we
be-
could do that. Fair enough.
Yeah, that always strikes me as strange when we ship something that we don't want.
That we don't
to
use. Yeah, I agree. All right, so
I mean, I don't know. I
kill the argument and just have people have bad scalability.
to be honest, like if you reverse the default, I think it's good enough.
I think that's fine.
Because I think that satisfies
Okay.
the thing what we expect most people to have to use in their apps, and then you guys can still use the same thing except you pass in more advanced features.
Yeah.
So
Like,
that seems-
Okay.
The default value is make it work.
Yep.
And the opt-in is make it work in fewer scenarios but better.
Okay, so let's do that then.
Should it be 2 stream? Because as is usually non-allocating method, and 2 is the one that allocates. Like as to array versus as something.
Why isn't it just a stream instead
That you
of
knew up?
instead of basically fetching methods?
I
Just
don't
a stream
know.
that you knew up.
I
you
kinda
pass
like
the
that.
file
Because it's
in the
different
right-
different streams.
Is it actually different?
Yeah,
streams?
three different streams.
Three different streams.
First one is read only, second
Okay,
one is
okay.
write only, and third one is duplex.
I mean, we did the same thing for the WinRT APIs. The problem,
What'd you do?
the same thing.
Blast
We have
stream
basically
and
as stream, but the problem is WinRT has like 3 different kinds of streams, and so The problem there was we also tried to make it so you can go back and forth. So you can take a winner T stream, get to a .NET stream, and then go from the .NET stream back to the winner T stream as all extension methods. And we try to preserve identities. If we go back and forth, we don't reallocate. So we have a mapping table
That
on the
works.
side and all
Oh.
that bullshit. The problem with the winner T case is that I'm not convinced that all these extension methods are discoverable, because if you look at the winner T feedback that we have gotten is people couldn't figure out how to use the APIs in general. I'm
is
not
strange.
sure that the problem is extension methods. It's also that their streaming APIs are substantially more difficult than ours.
I was actually going to ask a question that ties in with this. Let me just ask it, and then you can keep talking, Emo. Given that pipe reader and pipe writer are abstract classes, should these just be virtual methods?
Yeah, the duplex pipe is the problem. Like we'll have to put it somewhere anyway. So that's why they're all three in here. Like that was our first iteration of it. Put a stream in reader and writer, but then
Only you had virtuals and interfaces you could solve.
Because I mean, yeah, I was just
Yeah, you do.
making
Yeah, you do.
making pipe reader stream, pipe writer stream, and duplex pipe stream seems fine. We just use those three constructors.
Why though? Is that better? I don't
Yeah,
know.
3 types. I thought that it's just one type.
No,
Then I would do a stream.
I mean, you could do one type with 3 constructor overloads.
It's
and
just
it
not.
changes which
There's
thing it
no.
does.
There's no. I don't know.
What namespace is this type in?
Well,
System
pipelines.
So basically, you get the extension methods by default. When
Yeah.
you use pipe reader
Yeah.
writer.
Yeah. That's why it's nice. I think.
Can you provide some context around how you are solving the push versus pull internal implementation?
So these are just wrappers over the stream itself. So we don't actually do a background pull push thing. Whenever you call read on the stream, it calls read on the pipe. So it's a very simple wrapper. Over
It's a
the pipe
pass
itself.
through.
It's a pass through.
And for writing?
Same thing. When you call right on the stream, it calls right on the pipe. And call flush.
Just
right on flush.
get memory, copy bytes, flash async.
Okay,
then.
I got it.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
pipe is async, so there are no problems with not having async methods in wrappers. So that helps.
And what about the other way around? I guess we will get to that.
Yeah,
Those are more fun.
Okay.
Yeah. The only thing with the bool that bugs me maybe is that maybe if we have more options that I can't think of right now. Yeah, we killed the whole thing.
We'll add another overload with the take options type and
Okay.
move both there. Like
So
if we have enough.
you think it should be a virtual or extension method? I don't know.
It-
Or non-virtual.
Do we?
It's
Are
not-
there
it's not
are there
virtual.
situations where people might want different behaviors or different, like, I don't know what kind of defaults this uses for buffers or whatever? Like, could you imagine someone wanting to provide their own implementation? I have no idea.
Yeah.
So one scenario for own implementation is you're exposing create method that creates a reader from a stream.
That was different.
If then what?
No,
Well, but let's
Second
say,
one?
yeah,
We didn't get there yet.
So
We're
then
the first.
we're not there yet. But imagine that I have a pipe reader that was created from a stream. If I now call a stream, it would be nice if it just gave me the
the
stream.
same
that it
stream.
was
Yeah,
inside.
that's not bad actually.
It is not bad.
I was
Okay.
gonna say you could imagine somebody writing
Okay.
a pipe reader stream,
Okay.
which
And
just is both like it.
I'm convinced. Okay. That's
yeah, and creating
Make it-
stream is
make it
heavy
virtual.
enough that virtual call is not wouldn't hurt us.
Make it
there.
virtual. I like it.
To be fair, that one you can do regardless of whether it's an extension method or virtual. It just means that the implementation of this thing has to know what type it wraps.
Yeah. It could be all internal casting, I guess. You're right.
Yeah.
It could be either way. It would be like cast to blah. Pipe
But
reader.
why not give implementers more
Yeah.
control?
All two of them? Okay.
Well, so one reason for it is that now 2 of these methods would be virtual methods on the types, and one would be an oddball
yeah.
that is an extension method.
No, it would be default implementation of iDuplex pipe.
What do you mean default?
Default member.
No.
Why not?
Oh,
Not-
you mean
we're not
you
there
would
yet.
use the new feature?
Yeah,
not yet.
embrace.
Not yet.
The
Not
next
yet.
version feature.
Only in 3.0. No. Pipe is still next time 2.0.
I mean, like, 'cause
Yeah, but we're not putting this into.
the duplex type static class could get the create method for the stream conversion here, and then if we get default interface implementation, or when we finally get default interface implementations, it can do that.
Virtual?
And duplex pipe is super niche.
Virtual?
Yeah, like you wanted all virtuals everywhere.
Maybe it's fine.
I'm surprised you're against it.
Maybe it's fine. Okay, virtual. Is that weird?
It's not weird. Why is it weird?
I don't know.
I mean, I have to say, like, I think on our side for streams, we never had this desire to have different implementations.
Well, so
Right.
one disadvantage of a virtual, or maybe we can solve it, is now every implementation of a pipe reader kind of needs to implement this.
No, it's virtual. It's not abstract.
Yeah. The default.
We'll have
just
default
have a wrapper.
implementation that's reasonable.
Okay.
That's exactly
Which is
that.
just this method.
Yeah.
Just as you can decide not to do it, or you can decide you can do it better.
Okay,
Is it-
fine.
Okay. All right.
Not like crypto types, Brian. Virtual. So please define what this method's supposed to do.
If you call it more than one,
What was
you
the
get same-
decision for duplex type? We have a default virtual implementation on the interface.
No, not yet.
No, we're already adding static duplex pipe class, so we can just put it there for now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So question. So if you call add stream multiple times, you get the same instance since it's not virtual. We cache it on the pipe itself on the implementation. Because before you get it
Honestly,
whenever time. Now you can just
pipe,
return the
pipe,
same one.
pipe reader writer is single producer, single consumer, so returning a single stream would be reasonable.
The same instance.
Same instance.
Yeah. Okay. That's what we do here.
But where are you gonna store it?
On this.
Inside,
Pipe reader, I guess.
inside the pipe reader.
It's gonna get bigger.
If you decide to...
How much do you care about
It's already
that?
big actually.
Default implementation might just return a new one every time.
No.
No?
Why?
You want to catch it?
Same pipe.
Pipe is huge already.
It's huge. I know. Making it bigger.
Yeah, if you stick it in pipe,
It's gonna be
I
a
think
field.
It's fine.
Yeah,
Just
it's
one
gonna be a
additional-
field. Okay. Virtual is.
So then on the duplex pipe type, it becomes create stream.
Yes. Yes.
Or it could be an extension method on static class.
Hold on.
Just
Like-
move that same
That's
same thing. Put it. Yeah.
Or then it could be, since now it would be just one stream, now we can expose the stream type.
No, it won't be one stream.
No,
there would be
no,
different
no, one
streams.
What? No, I'm saying it's one stream type. So before I was saying, why do we have extension methods? We could just expose the stream type, and people use the constructor. So you said, well, we have 3 different implementations of the stream.
Right.
Now we added the other methods as virtual methods to reader and writer, and we just expose
The duplex pipe
stream. Takes
I-
a duplex pipe.
I have a question on the implementation. So duplex pipe, it just means it has both a reader and a writer, right?
That's correct.
So I mean, if I'm not saying you should do it this way, but could you implement this as a stream that takes 2 constructor parameters,
Yes.
a reader and a writer?
Yeah.
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 We had that before and dropped it.
The duplex stream.
But I'm just saying, if we wanted to expose a single stream type, that's what it could be. It could take as its constructor parameter an iDuplex pipe, a reader, or a writer, and under the covers it's just storing a reader and a writer.
Yeah.
With the writers.
But you guys know the implementation much better than I do, so.
Are your writer and your reader very different implementations, or could they be unified in the same stream with which way was
But
it?
they just implement different stream methods. They're right next to it. One stream implements all read methods, the other stream implements all write methods,
Yeah.
and the third stream implements
Right.
all
So-
of them together.
so
So,
it's
it might be the
seasonal,
same
yeah.
stream.
So
If there was pipe stream that had these 3 things as a constructor
Yeah.
overloads, then all the write methods would just throw if you gave it just the reader, and
Yeah.
all the read
Yeah.
methods would throw if you gave it just the writer.
Yeah.
I like that. I don't know. So we're saying there's a new stream type. That's one thing that takes a bunch of arguments, and there's different
I was
things.
asking, I was just trying to understand all the options on the
I see.
table.
Okay, so that model would just be that there's a new stream type called pipe stream that has those 3 things as constructors. I mean, or you could make it just one constructor that takes reader, comma,
I
writer,
guess it
and
could, like,
they
Depending
just
on what
can't
you
both
pass
be null.
in, it would have to return can read. I guess.
Yeah, but it's not hard.
It's not being
Not-
hard.
yeah.
It's just, I don't know.
Can read is where you're given a reader or a duplex. Can write is where you're given a writer. Also, as stream that takes a writer should call the writer writer, not reader.
So you're saying instead of having a virtual, or just as well as having a virtual? Instead of or as well as?
The problem is like
Instead
duplex,
of
the duplex stream is the like least common scenario, right? Like most of
Yeah.
the times you're just wrapping the pipe
Yeah,
reader on
but
the pipe reader.
Having both doesn't take away anything. Like perf, we don't need
So
to
yeah,
do
I
checking
like the
for
as
pipe.
stream. Having pipe stream is kind of confusing already. People like the name pipelines, name pipe
Yeah.
blah is kind of confusing with name pipes.
One
So as stream
disadvantage
kind
of
of
the
is nicer.
constructor solution is now you cannot return the same instance.
Right.
Yes, you can.
No.
If you cache
People
it
call the
in-
constructor, you're gonna
It's
get.
Yeah,
calling it
if
itself.
we only do constructor, yeah.
Yes.
if you did both, then the as stream could still
You
catch.
could do both. You-
But
you
for
would do both.
iDuplex pipe, it doesn't matter because for iDuplex pipe, you don't have a
Yeah.
you don't have. Well, you could kind of downcast
Nah,
and
it's
store it, maybe, but it's a bit of a hack.
I mean, the one thing that
So I kind of want the as stream methods, but maybe expose the stream too. That's not like do both things instead of just.
well, the one benefit of exposing the type is that if you want to customize, like if the current add stream works for you almost, but not quite, if you only have the extension, or if you only have the virtual methods, you have to implement the entire thing from scratch.
yeah,
Yes.
sure.
If you expose another type, you can just derive from that and do whatever you want.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Inheritance is awful though. So.
Oh wow.
For customizations of small things is actually fairly decent.
No, having
Wrapping
public
is
stream,
better. Wrapping is
having
better.
public stream is not bad.
What's it called? Not pipe stream, right?
Pipe stream.
That's there already.
Pipeline stream?
Really?
In
I'm pretty
system,
sure-
Oh yeah,
system
yeah,
IO
yeah.
pipes.
It's the name pipes.
Yeah. Make it more confusing.
Also, pipe streams. Like
Yeah, pipelines.
it's not like a
was,
pipe.
Yeah, but okay, we're past that. Okay, we know it's a bad name.
Yeah.
We're past that now.
But you can just call it pipeline stream, man. I mean, the namespace is called
So-
pipelines, so.
I know I sort of led us down this path, but maybe
Your fault, Steve.
maybe we take this one step at a time and we start with basically whether it's static extensions or virtual, we start with basically as stream on
Yes.
these and then we see how far that gets us, and in
Yes.
3.1 we see if we should expose something else.
So what would you
Sorry.
start with?
Just the methods, the virtuals.
The methods, I don't know whether we make them virtual or static or extension methods, but basically as streams for pipe reader, writer, or duplex pipe.
So if we go with the current plan of virtuals, where basically the reader and writer has virtuals, but the duplex type is an extension method, how much flexibility do I get when I pass an iDuplex pipe around now? If anybody calls the extension method. Am I now screwed?
Yeah, like the reason that I like
Not screwed.
the constructor, perhaps in addition to the virtuals on the reader and the writer, is that it makes there be symmetry on or for the three. So the fact that the iDuplex pipe's an interface and we don't have default interface implementations yet is what makes this.
Do you have any place today in Castro where we need to new up the stream?
No.
New it up. That having as blah would be a hindrance.
Combos.
Writing code to see how it looks. Keep passing either reader or writer.
Or both.
So it
or
has,
duplex type.
three constructors.
It's 4.
Or and a duplex pipe. Oh, you can just pass in, I guess. You can't call it pipe stream because that's taken already. Pipeline stream's even worse.
That's true.
Let's call it, what's it? Flume?
Oh yeah. Don't do it.
Conduit.
Pipeline channel conduit stream.
Sync.
Ah. This is so easy. You guys made it hard.
Well, the other
We
question
were so
is,
close.
That's our job.
We were so close, guys.
so what happens when you say duplex type dot as stream extension method, and then you only read, versus you say duplex type dot reader dot get stream? Do you get different behavior now?
No.
One is a virtual, one is a non-virtual.
Yeah.
You will get from behavior.
Yeah.
Well, you get different instances of a thing.
What implements duplex type? iDuplex type?
Nothing.
But that can't be true, right? You clearly have an implementation
We
of
had
that.
some in,
In Castro.
we had
Yeah.
some in Castro.
In Castro we have it.
Yeah, so as duplex pipe as stream could call reader writer as stream and then wrap them together. Like
Allocate 3 objects.
if we make them virtuals, that's what it has to do.
We could introduce a duplex
Like
type.
yeah, but
I guess wondering what would happen if we just had the first two methods as virtuals and we didn't have the third.
Let's just get rid of duplex 1.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's get rid of it.
That actually solves the problem
Doesn't
as well,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, all of you.
Really good discussion.
It's fine. It's fine. I like it. We don't need we only knew the duplex pipe in one place today. For the network stream.
It's an
equivalent.
interface, so we can like implement it on stream
This is true.
if we want to, and expose whatever we want.
Okay, good. Good. I'm happy.
So just reiterating what I heard. So basically, we have virtual as stream methods on pipe reader and pipe writer, and they end up taking a default a bool deny synchronous I/O or something. But whatever it is, they allow synchronous I/O by default.
Yep.
And you can opt out. Is that right?
Yep.
That's what we said. Yeah.
Having this bool in virtual,
You hit the bool.
I hate the bool in virtual now. Like before, it was one implementation that was hard coded, and we know what it did. And now, this bool is part of the contract.
Okay, so if we
Alright, yeah.
we can be pure and not have the bool, we have to wrap the stream.
I know, like you'll say, Pavel, why is it performance?
Two objects, Pavel, instead of one.
How about this? So the cases you care about are the pipe reader and writer derived types, right? Those are the ones where you want to permit that you wanted to stop this from happening, stop the synchronous I/O.
Yeah.
Can't know.
All right. So how about we're not exposing,
it's
we're not
more ASIC
exposing the
methods.
extreme type. Sorry, we're not exposing the underlying concrete type here. We can have whatever constructor arguments we want on it. What if there it oh wait.
You can't block
No,
synchronous I/O
that's-
from
you
the
got-
pipe. at
These
all.
types are all in system I/O pipelines. Kestrel needs a way to get this argument in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Have any concerns with naming it as Christoph?
As what?
With the as prefix?
No, as it makes more sense.
I thought you said as Christoph. Yes, I think it would be a pretty bad name.
Right.
He didn't like his name in the APS
Yeah,
surface.
exactly. It's
You should at least
Honestly,
get one
it's
type
mistakes.
named after you.
You should.
Coding method.
Hey, at some point, datetime.parsed Brad's wedding.
Oh, you know what? It would be nice if we had a base type of system object that had no members. I think we should have it.
And we call this
All
one
good-
as Crystal.
good
That seems
PCs have a type like this.
We can call that one Christoph. No,
No.
so are you fine with as stream as the virtual name?
Yes.
I think it makes sense. If it's since it's virtual, and you get the same instance for color design.
I was just trying to skim to see if we had guidance on the as verb.
We do.
Two stream.
Two is a conversion, which
Yeah, I
is
think
supposed
most-
to be expensive versus
I think in
as is
particular, if it's going
effectively
to be cached,
CAS.
as
Yeah.
is fine.
It'll be
Okay.
cached. All right, move on.
And we said as stream will return or will be idempotent, right? It will return the same.
Yep.
Well, in the
Oh, what
In
if
the virtual that we
what if
tried.
we keep the argument and argument is different, so it cannot return the same stream because it was created with a different
okay, get rid of the
argument.
argument. Yeah, you can't.
Well, it can be.
Now you
Yeah,
have to
different
have two
instance.
fields.
No, no,
One
no.
for the one for
or you still have to change.
Yeah, let's get rid of the
We'll
argument.
yeah, we'll wrap it. That's fine.
How bad would it be to have two sets of extension methods? One like as stream and then one as like as synchronous stream or something like that.
Really
Then you
bad.
need two
Really
fields.
bad.
It still needs to.
Really
You
bad.
would still need, yeah, you need two
But you
fields.
could audit that code pretty easily though. Like, what are you doing with this asynchronous streams? Like, I don't know. Let's call it. It's like, no.
I mean, I know it's really bad. I just want to
Banned.
get an idea out.
Yeah, we could design APIs that are traps. So we catch ourselves.
Isn't that what we do with buff writer?
I like that. It's pretty good.
Technically, you can solve
Like
the
an
two fields
interview
problem with a
test,
small struct and then make it one field.
Or make
Well, no, because you need the different behaviors. You actually need two fields.
No.
or you can
You
make
create a struct and then you have one field of this struct type.
You just let's do things.
I'm kidding.
Oh,
no, you
I
make
got you.
streams
I got you.
a linked list, so you link one stream to another
You were
one.
talking how many lines of C# code exist in this class. I was thinking how many registers exist.
Yeah.
Well, streams are already a linked list.
Really?
You can link them, and then if somebody passes false, you pass them the first stream, and
Yeah,
if they pass true, you pass them the second
Exactly.
stream. The second stream throws, the first one doesn't.
Beautiful.
I mean, the other option is like, do you care about idempotency at all?
Well, yes,
We're good?
because then we have to rename it.
Bool just doesn't feel good in virtual.
We're good with the first one? Let's move down
Yeah.
to the fun one.
So
Yeah,
we're just
what?
dropping all the bulls.
Yeah, we're gonna allocate more.
different type.
We're gonna allocate more.
So
We can
as-
allocate only
as
in
stream
in
and
development.
Destroy the perfect.
Don't allocate in production. Don't enforce this rule in prod.
So, do you care about the reverse direction? Ever?
What?
Going back from the stream to the pipe reader?
I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
the
all
next-
That's this one.
Oh, that's the next one?
Yeah.
Uh,
So the first one is pipe reader.create. So given the stream as input, create a pipe reader.
Do we have this
That's
class,
stream.
or is this the same abstract?
Same abstract class.
Yeah.
And you pass in options that we'll look at later, I guess. And same for pipe writer. You pass in the stream, you get a pipe writer back. And then we have copy to async, which copies from a pipe reader to a stream, and then copy from async, which goes from the pipe writer or
From stream to pipe writer.
There's also an option to not have that and instead do copy to async from stream to pipe writer. That's more how we do things today.
We also had you proposed, and I think we even approved an API that never got implemented. That was
Yeah.
like copy to async to a delegate.
Delegate, yeah. Yep.
Delegate is more expensive.
Nah, I stayed. That's not update anything.
Uh,
It's equivalent, I guess.
What
Sim-
about the
similar.
API that transfers buffers between reader and writer?
We don't have that yet.
Are you planning to have it?
We have discussions about that.
yeah.
Come on, that's such an awesome idea.
Rough discussions about that.
This is the best idea. out of
Yeah, we
whole
had it in the
feature.
prototype. Then we killed it in the API reviews.
We didn't kill it in the API.
We murdered it.
You told us.
We
to
murdered
kill
it.
No. The feature is great. The API was horrible.
Yeah, so we killed it.
No,
That's why I'm asking.
it comes up more often lately.
Yeah, we need it. We need it. It's coming out more often.
So
So
is the duplex pipe static create something that we need?
could we get rid of that one too? I guess.
Let's try it.
Let's get rid
It's
of it.
not
We don't
strictly
have-
required right
Yeah.
now. We cannot come up with examples where
We
we
don't have
need it.
great- yeah.
We don't need it.
well, because no one uses it.
What?
Right, and
It's by default.
well, I mean, just like
It's there. That's it.
because
Yeah, it's fine.
all that this would do is call the two halves and call create
That's correct.
and wrap it. It's so like
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
let
it's-
somebody
yeah.
write that 10 lines
Yes.
of code.
Yeah.
Okay, so the options pass to the reader. You can pass in the memory pool.
Scroll down. It's this.
Memory pool. Oh, that's right. Right.
that's
first. Okay,
right.
that's
Do these? Sorry, David. Do these generally map to like constructor arguments on pipe or something?
No.
No.
Pipe is not getting created here.
Yeah.
These would create wrapper classes that implement pipe reader,
Sorry,
pipe
I'm
writer.
wondering, how do I sorry, my dog's going crazy. How do I construct a pipe reader today? Like, what's the common case for creating a pipe
New
reader?
pipe and then get reader out of it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we have today.
And so don't I? Sorry, going nuts. So and I don't specify like when I construct a pipe, I don't specify a memory pool or
Oh yeah,
certain
yeah.
size. Or,
They're similar to pipe options. Yeah.
So,
right, so that's what I was asking.
They intersect. Yeah.
so we had a couple of designs here before selling on this design, where what we could do right is instead of having this thing return I guess the same API, what it would do internally was that it would basically create a pipe internally, and then from the right side pass that to the stream, and then expose the reader to the actual caller. Right. That would require kind of a background task to run copying data from the write to the read side. And we didn't want to do that. So to make it less fire and forgetty and kind of weird, we wrap the stream directly and just create a pipe reader over that stream. So it's more focused on.
I guess that's interesting. What I was thinking though is, do we actually need pipe writer options and pipe reader options, or could we just have the create methods take a pipe options?
Yeah, that's what came up, but it hasn't.
There is a bunch of stuff in pipe options that doesn't
Don't make
apply
sense.
and
Yeah.
might be really confusing. Like pipe options have schedulers.
And preserve sync context and a bunch of other things that don't make sense in this case. We can make it work, but we don't want to make it work.
How do you specify a scheduler if you want to create pipe writer from a stream?
You don't.
You don't.
You get the stream scheduling.
Then you cannot. Do you think that you would want to make it configurable.
These are more full fidelity over the actual stream, giving you a view of a pipe over that stream directly.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be passed through.
That makes sense.
So why?
I was trying to avoid if we could
maybe
avoid
steps.
exposing a bunch of duplication.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, me too. At first I was trying to get everything.
Yeah, Jeremy asked a question which I also was thinking about.
Mhm.
Should it be abstract and should it be immutable? I don't
The,
understand why you have a constructor
options?
that takes
Yeah, sure.
You have a constructor that takes those
Could be
two
abstract.
things and then you have properties that are get set
could
and
be
then you
abstract.
They're
expose
not
yourself to-
yet
Yeah.
set.
Yeah, fix it.
Justin just
Just
didn't
fix
fix
I
it.
just
We don't blame
It's,
you.
it's, it's the same parent as
Yeah.
pipe options. Constructor with default arguments and immutable classes.
It could be
You
abstract.
still want to keep it a class?
I don't really
It's
care.
so small.
As long as we default to
It's
like,
kind of small
default
for
to
now.
null.
For now, right?
How many more options? I think.
None, I think.
maybe like
Yeah.
2 more.
One or two more.
So things that are interesting about the options for the reads, I guess the read side, there's 3 things that are there we can look at. There's the pool, which makes sense. It's not array pool. It could be array pool. We chose memory pool for reasons.
Not
So
really
you
reasons.
could replace
Yeah, you can
with your
replace
own,
it.
right? That it's an abstraction. It has scroll down.
well, array pool's abstraction too.
Yeah. So yeah. So memory pool allocates too much. No judgment.
Which one?
in this
Which
room.
one?
The default
Array memory pool.
it allocates too much. Just allocates like a bunch of stuff. Isn't
No, I'm not talking about array memory pool. I'm talking about array pool.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a minimum segment size because
So
What
so
happens?
the reason is because when you call try read on the pipe, if you have a segment size that's like too small, for example, like you call like read and then you call advance some segment amount and then you call try read afterwards and you have a very small segment
why is
amount.
there
No.
hold on.
Wait.
Minimum segment size is there because array pool would give you whatever you ask it for.
Oh,
So
sorry.
you need
I was
to
talking
know.
about-
That's
you,
what it is.
Sorry, I was
you,
talking
you
about the
need to
option.
know what to ask it for to begin with. Like if you want to read from stream, right? How large of the buffer do you ask for?
Yeah, I think segment is a misnomer.
Yeah, it's
It's
a
buffer size.
it's a
Buffer says
It's the thing you pass a rent, right?
Yeah.
It's buffer size.
and it may not be minimum. It's just whatever
It's
you
buffer
ask.
size.
It is buffer size. It's not
Yeah.
minimum.
You want to fix it?
Fix what?
I'm trying to understand the what's being highlighted in the pipe reader options.
Yeah.
So memory pool at the bottom. Scroll down. Memory pool at the bottom is assigned to shared, but then it's always overwritten in the constructor.
yeah, that's
Yeah, it's-
probably some bug.
Ignore the text. It's
Yeah.
just yeah. Yeah.
I should,
no.
I should clean it up. My bad.
Also, you probably don't want to expose the constant.
No.
We should just expose default.
Because at that point, you might as well just physically make them literal because it's effectively the same thing.
So change minimum segment size to like buffer size. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And then minimum read threshold is interesting.
Yeah, that's the one I was discussing.
To explain. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you call read, we initially tried to we call try read because if there's already some data that's been buffered, you should just return that if you call try read, or if you call read async. And then if that segment size is too small, then we want to actually call read async. So that is
Why won't we use buffer size for the second read?
No. So I think the read threshold is about not passing small buffers to read async on the stream.
Not returning small buffers.
that's
Yes. So like if we have the min threshold left in the buffer that we rented from the pool, we get a new buffer instead of using the one
Why?
we currently have
What does
to not do small reads. So if you do a read and you end up with a buffer that is filled up to I don't know 200 bytes, we won't pass those to the next read. We'll get a new buffer.
But
I'm
how
returning
real is this?
We do it all the time in Kestrel, for example. We read up until half of 4K and then we throw the buffer away, get a new one.
But isn't that it?
I see. When basically the buffer that you have gets filled in enough, you don't want to call a read and then
Yeah.
get
Because
small
you're
number of
wasting a
bytes.
syscall to do a super small read instead of
I
doing
see.
a bigger read.
Okay.
But you already did that read, so you're redoing.
No. You're not doing the next read
Next
into
read.
the small space.
Why don't you just wait till the stream that now wraps the reader does not read? So instead of kind of issuing reads or getting new buffer, you kind of just wait for the stream to read.
No, it's the other way around.
When you call read, then we call read on the stream. So you call read
It's
on the pipe.
it's the reader wrapping this.
We call read on the stream.
Oh, it's pipe reader
Yes.
writing a stream.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So we call read from the pool. If the buffer that we have already is too small, then we'll just like get a new one.
Yeah, why not call it minimum read size?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yep.
I would get it the first time.
What happens if you do a thing smaller than this number? Is something somewhere throwing? Is something somewhere?
No, we just don't do it. Like if we have less than 256 bytes left in the buffer, we won't read into the same buffer. We'll just get a new one, larger one, and read into it.
I thought he was asking, what if I pass 1?
Yeah, we'll keep reading until
You get one
it's-
way left in the buffer.
Well, like I mean, this clearly affects some other call to something somewhere, and I'm just wondering what these two things are and how they interplay and how I tell and when I know I've done something bad, because I've understood every word that has been said, but I've not understood how to stitch them together into how a program behaves.
So think of the pattern. If you were going to read from a pool, read from a stream, and then return, right, in a loop over and over. Read from a pool of some size, you read from the stream, you get an AMAT saying how much was read. You have two options: return from the pool directly or reuse the buffer over and over, right? We want to reuse the buffer as long as there's space that's useful in it. So if you if you read 4K from a pool, you call read in the stream, and then you read one byte. You want to keep using that same 4K until it's drained. You don't have to rent and return like over and over. So this thing just says, I want to rent 4K because 4K is my default buffer size. That's one setting, and then the other one says, how much do you leave in that buffer before I consider it useless? And by default, we say this.
So why isn't it something like an internal constant that you just use?
It is.
Like, why do we let people configure it? Is it
Fine-tuning.
useful?
Because it's based on minimum segment size. Why don't we base it on the minimum segment size?
I still think you want to configure
quarter.
for some scenarios.
Would you?
It's advanced.
But do we want to expose it right now?
Yes, it's advanced. And Cache will make it half of the default because we did today.
So then why not just do that and that?
Because half
Because half is good for Cache, but half isn't good for like I don't know, WCF or some other scenario.
So this is if you've used, let's say you're using half. So if you've read 3K out of a 4K buffer, you are then moving the rest of the 1K, or is it that because this is where you read up to that you only have 1K left to fill on the next read call?
I always want 2K reads, so if I have 1K left, I'm going to throw away my current buffer and get a new 4K buffer.
Is the 1K that's left has never been written to, or is it
It's left
needs
empty.
to be moved? Well, because
It's
I'm
left
just
empty.
okay.
Wait, but if you already have a 4K buffer, why are you throwing it away? You can't override the data.
like you got 4K buffer
Yeah.
and you keep reading into it
Yeah.
until you're left with some space.
Yeah.
And if the space is smaller than the minimum read size, you're not going to read into it anymore. You'll get a new buffer and you'll start
okay.
reading into the next
Okay.
4K buffer.
I see.
So you don't end up reading into this tail space of
Right.
See,
Five bytes.
I saw this because it's called minimum read. That somewhere there's an API called read, and if I pass a number less than that, you're throwing. And I'm like,
no.
why is this?
Yeah. Yeah, so we can change the name.
Yeah, I would honestly. What I would do is basically do what you want to do in Cache Shell, and then for now, don't let people tweak it.
no.
Why do you
like,
hate
they'll
people?
file. Why am I allocating 8K when I'm reading just 4K of data?
Yeah. You need to.
You
pass
kind
it.
of issues.
This is my
Your call.
Yeah.
It's just more
Hill.
settings that nobody knows what
It
to
is
do.
true.
It's fine because you want. I mean, by default, it's null. You call create, and you'll get good defaults.
Is there any way for us to be smart about it so that it's not configurable, but we can already detect how much we need to?
Oh,
No.
too smart. Mm-mm.
Would it be better as a percentage?
No, it could be just half. By default, we could do half of the buffer size or whatever.
Let's do quarter.
Sure, quarter.
So another
But then you
thing,
can change it if you
Yeah,
hear
if you
defaults.
want.
So another thing you could do is, especially if you change these types into structs, then they can be get set. So you have a default constructor, and then you have or you have
Immutable struct.
you have a constructor that takes the things that you absolutely need, and then other properties be get set. And the reason, if you make them structs, once you pass it, they are kind of they are read only. Nobody can mutate.
Yeah,
them.
but would people?
Because one of the problems here is like you already have a very long constructor of ints that nobody can understand what
Yeah, it's
they are,
gross.
and just make them get set properties on the struct.
What's the constraints on these two?
It would be different from pipe options. That's exactly this. and that's right next to it. Repeating old mistakes. Isn't that what we do?
What do you mean we're repeating old mistakes? Now you're repeating old mistakes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm trying to make us repeat old mistakes again.
What's the ratio between these two ends? Like, can one be larger than the other? Does it make
So
sense?
minimum read threshold cannot be larger than the other one.
Yeah.
Like you get 4K block
It
and your
can't, but
minimum.
it won't do anything. This means that you just never.
But we should check because
Yeah, we can check
it will
that.
result in infinite loop if like we keep that if and
And how big can this minimum segment size be?
up to the entire segment size.
No, how do I know? Like,
It will
how big
eventually
I can
max
segment-
out
Up to the
pool's,
up to
So-
the pool dot.
pool's
that
max
thing.
buffer size.
Yeah.
It's squashed between
Which just
yeah,
ain't max by default.
yeah.
Let's just rename the properties and then have good defaults, and then
Check everything.
no one has to use it. Check it in the constructor.
And then check against the pool too.
So can we summarize all the changes we wanted to do? We just said, okay, we
change
want to make
main
them
segment
structs.
size to minimum to buffer size.
Okay, make both options structs.
No. No. Leave the way it is.
Okay, so what is it now? It's like we leave it as a class
Mhm.
with constructors. Okay, fine.
Why?
I don't know. Is it a mutable struct?
You should make it a ref struct. You can only pass it in.
That'd be kind of cool, actually. If you hit.
I guess the biggest
Change the
argument
const to
against
be-
of making them structs is so it's consistent with pipe options,
There you
which
go.
is a class with, which is an immutable
And
class.
brush our mistakes. Apple. Change the const to be, I guess, static realigning. Maybe just
I thought the const weren't going to be public.
hide those. Yeah,
Yeah, we don't.
yeah,
We only need default.
Keep it being yeah, keep it
instance.
internal.
Yeah, we can just remove those.
And then rename min segment size to buffer size.
Min read threshold to min read size.
Yeah.
And remove
Minimum
the optional
read size.
arguments.
Yeah.
No,
Mm,
keep those.
Then what?
and
are
remove the
what are those-
defaults. Just remove the defaults then, right? Like on the
On the text.
on the sliders or the getters
So what are the renames again?
Buffer size
for min.
for minimum segment size. Buffer size.
Minimum segment size to buffer size.
Why was it minimum to begin with? Like, if I say 4K, you're gonna give me more.
I think it was copied from.
Because
No.
it's copied from pipe,
From
and
pipes.
in pipe we take your desired size, like the one that you passed into
Yeah.
get memory,
Yeah.
and we squash it between a pool max size and minimum size.
Well-
So if you ask for 2 bytes, we won't rent
But we
2
still
bytes
did.
from the pool.
Wait, no,
But
we
we
can,
still have the
we
logic.
can still make this minimum, right? Because like, if someone passes a size hint of like,
No, but you don't
10,000.
call get memory in this scenario. You just call read with buffer.
Yeah,
we call
you call read with the buffer.
You don't have
we
any
call
control here.
rent on the memory pool.
No. The caller has no control to do anything.
Yeah, but
here.
they pass get memory, like some value into get memory.
Who?
You implement reader. Stream pipe
Who
reader.
calls get memory? We call rent.
No, like your interface you're getting is pipe reader.
Yeah.
That has get memory. So somebody.
No, pipe reader does not get memory. Pipe reader just has read.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
Yeah.
there.
They're like
If,
so.
only,
In,
if only I
Yeah.
worked a year on this API.
in the pipe, right? In the pipe case, you're calling. You have both sides. So you call get memory. In this case, you don't have any control. You're just calling like read.
Yeah, that's why it's
So
buffer
that's why
size.
it's buffer size. It's not minimum.
It's minimum segment size in the other one, and that's
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Good.
Why do you call the property memory pool and not just pool?
Oh, cool.
It was how was it called in the other one?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's memory pool and
Yeah, it's memory
Consistency.
shared places.
Such a wasted.
Do you guys have any?
wasted 6 bytes in source code?
Do you have any opinions on using the array pool versus using the memory pool? No.
Is Kestrel going to be passing in its own memory pool implementation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Kestrel, yeah. But by default, if you use this thing just in the library, you're gonna get the allocated.
Sorry.
What do you mean by
not-
it's allocating?
It allocates like a
A wrapper
object every time.
wrapper
you call
object
write.
around array that has dispose to
Remember
implement.
that
Oh,
discussion we had?
okay. What else could it be doing?
Pooling that object,
What do you mean pulling the object?
storing it somewhere.
Like
and
instead of
reusing it.
pulling arrays, pull the wrappers.
Oh, pull the wrappers. Yeah, we killed the pulling feature that I wanted and you guys didn't.
We do it in Castro. Castro's pool is fine. The default pool is the one that's... But the array pool actually pulls arrays, so like that one actually would be faster. Or less allocated, I guess. So we could say if you pass in a null pool, we use the array pool in the covers.
Blah.
You hit... What do you hit per?
What do you hit abstractions?
No, it's fine if you pass it.
Oh yeah,
If you
fine.
don't.
I think we had this fight, and
We did.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I remember trying to
remember.
implement this with the. It's just made everything.
But aren't you exposing the thing you're passing? So like, if you pass in null, what does memory pool return?
I mean,
It'll be set to shared array pool, but with like fast path array pool in the implementation.
That's what we're gonna do.
I'm sorry. You're saying that if memory pool is equal to memory pool byte.shared, you wouldn't use it. You'd use array pool.shared instead.
Yeah. If it's null, sorry, not.
Yeah, but or
yeah,
if
we'll
it's
get
not.
rid of the
If
default.
it's null, yeah. If it's null, then we use the array pool internally.
I mean, yeah, in that case, I'd do whatever's faster, which presumably would be array pool.
Yeah.
All right, so just by default, the memory pool's null.
Yep.
And then we just use the array pool under the covers.
I like that.
Sure.
Perf. Same for Python actually.
Go away.
So do we still have this property though that returns back the memory pool? Yet?
It would be null.
We'll
Just
just
null.
Yeah, no. By
Oh,
default.
okay.
Which could mean don't pool either. No, let's not do that. Okay,
No,
so where are we
I
at?
would do that, yeah.
Everyone's
All
happy.
right, so now that it's get set properties, is there a
There's no get set
constructor?
properties. Mm-mm. It's get only, and it's a class, and you have to pass it in once, and then you're done. No more options.
Okay. I thought somewhere I heard that you were making it get set.
No, that's what Christoph said, but then I said no. Let me just left it the way it is.
Going back to the pipe writer options, why is it minimum segment
Whatever.
size?
Exactly why there is a minimum segment size on the
Too
pipe
many
itself.
allocations.
We implement
Class.
buffer writer, right? So when somebody calls get memory
To be fair, those
and
kind of
passes
things.
you 1,
Yeah.
you don't want to rent a block of size 1 from memory pool, because array memory pool would give you like 1 or 2 or 5, whatever is the minimum size. So you want to have some minimum. So the value you get into get memory is aligned with this minimum size and max size from buffer, and that's what you
We use math.clamp, which I
Clamp,
hadn't,
yeah.
hadn't even seen.
I didn't
before.
know it exists.
Pretty cool.
We need to fix pipe
I know.
to use clamp.
So, question: any idea on if we should have copy to async on stream, or if we should have copy from async on pipewriter?
What are the usage scenarios for it? I'm wondering. This would add expense, obviously. So that's leading to my usage question. If
Yeah.
you just relied on converting things to streams and using the existing copy to async overload on stream.
I guess you could.
Would that like
Wait.
abysmal purpose? Would it not matter at all?
It's much faster to not create stream.
Yeah, not allocate it, obviously. Well,
Sure,
most of
but
that.
I'm wondering like when is it done, and would it actually? Obviously, it's extra allocation, but is that extra allocation when we're not otherwise allocating anything, or is it extra allocation when we're doing like a boatload of stuff?
Imagine compression middleware and your transport is a pipe, but the only way to compress stuff is a compression stream. So you do compression stream copy to HTTP response.body pipe. And we weren't allocating there before, so allocating another stream just to copy bytes from one place to another is
That makes sense.
So I kind of that actually makes me feel as though this is a bit more natural to do copy to async, mostly because we have it already. In that case, you'd end up doing body pipe.copy from async compression stream. So okay, let's add. So the only problem is we'll have an extension method on stream in the pipe writer namespace.
That's fine. If you
Probably
reference
fine.
pipes, you'll get another copy to
Okay.
overload.
Seems reasonable.
Okay, so delete the copy from async and we'll do copy to async extension method instead. Which means it isn't virtual, which means you can't optimize
It's
it.
just,
Well,
I think that
the extension method could just call copy from. It could just be transfer. You still have the virtual
It
semantics.
could.
Copy from
It could.
on what?
Copy to
Stream extension
async could call
copy to.
copy from on the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
On the
inverts
pipe.
the call so you can call the virtual.
I
on
think the
on
direction
writer.
is more natural because usually you have a reference to a writer and you call some method like write and you pass the thing that you want to write. not the other way.
But it's right from. It's like it's when you call copy from async, you're saying, yeah, I guess it's kind of like right.
Basically, it's gonna
okay,
be like
it's like right. I guess.
typewriter that writes, typewriter that writes.
Yeah. I mean,
now
maybe,
I want to write the contents of the stream. I have to I cannot start with
Yes.
typewriter
yeah.
dot.
Like
something.
maybe it shouldn't be copy from async. Maybe it should be,
But why
write
is stream
async.
copy?
I was thinking the same thing. at first.
And-
to?
But
What?
the-
Why is stream copy to async, not copy from async?
Well, no. It's because in all cases you have stream on the left hand side. You start with stream dot write byte array.
Right.
Stream dot write blah blah blah. You always have it. Always have stream.
Well, except that the stream you're writing to is then appearing on the right hand side because you say source dot copy
from.
to stream.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense with stream because you have stream on both sides, so it's the natural direction is left to right.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I think X2 copied.
Natural direction from to.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's
source-
not ideal.
source definition.
I think it was actually a mistake. I think it's much better to always I have a writer and it's always I start with writer dot, no matter what I want to write, whether it's an int or a contents of a stream.
yeah,
I
so
say writer dot.
So it's not source definition. It's just I think.
it's writer dot write. whatever.
It's
So
what you're
I
doing
would-
action on, and then
I mean,
what
I-
you're getting
It almost
data
should
from.
be the extension method should be write contents of a stream.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the extension method copy to async against stream works because if somebody already is doing stream copy
Yes.
to stream, this will tell
It's
them
not-
don't call the conversion and wrap this with another stream.
Call copy to
We'll
async.
undo this call for you. So all that this will do is call
Yes.
the virtual on pipewriter.
Let's do both.
So this is just a translation so that you hit the existing pattern off the stream.
Let's do both then. Copy from and copy to.
But then copy from should be either write async to be an overload of the existing write async or write stream async. Because again, pipewriter is write async some stuff to write. The stream is the stuff to write. It's,
I don't know. That one's kind of weird.
Okay, so now I'm really confused. So what are you proposing? You're
So
saying
no-
we'll
so-
have both extension methods for both directions?
No matter what, we're gonna have this copy to async from stream to pipewriter. That's there regardless.
Yeah.
The question is, do we have that implementation called pipewriter.copy from async stream? Or do we still have the virtual that does the copy from a stream? And he's saying to rename that copy from async to write.
So what
contents.
virtual are you talking about?
Scroll up to the pipewriter. I guess it's not
Mouse
virtual
again?
right now. Yeah, right there. Copy from async.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
Oh, we should make it virtual.
Yeah, we're in
What
the,
else?
We're in the virtual mode today.
so I
Make
think
it virtual.
I think that the existing pipewriter has write async, which takes a read-only memory of bytes. I think that this is just a natural overload of that. So
I
it'll
don't
be
know.
pipewriter.write
I
I
don't
would
know.
just call it write async.
I
and place a
understand.
stream.
I understand. It's just not a pattern we have today. Where write async does like a super long operation that just hangs into the entire thing is written out.
Well,
Write
because the
async
stream
can take very
necessarily-
long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because the stream
You cannot
essentially
prevent exactly.
No. I mean, writing a byte array is like writing a single thing where it yields after that thing happens. Writing a whole stream is like
You know the
this
byte.
will hang for the whole like.
No, you
time
know the
stream.
byte array can be 2 gigs.
I know, but that's still fast compared to like a network stream. Like this is basically a copy from a network stream, which is never ending, to this pipewriter. That's what this method does.
That's why we have await.
It's
If that were actually true, then it should return task, not value task. But I don't think that's true.
So what is not true?
I mean, I think these streams can be pretty small, and if they are small, then I would expect it to. In the case where it's possibly small, presumably you would actually want it to be returning a value task, a flush result, just like the existing write async does. And if it's returning value task, a flush result, seems like it really is just another overload write async.
What would
Yeah.
you use
no,
the
I don't
result
want
for?
flush result. No, no.
But there might be multiple. We're not flash. We're
There's
not
no
even,
flash
we're
results
not even flash. Are we?
No.
We are every time.
When you're writing to a pipe, but the question is, how would you use it?
You can't. Yeah, there's no good use for that flush result here.
I don't mind value task personally because, like, what's the harm, right? Like, it's just as bad as a task.
It's
when-
super bad. If the callers don't support it, you have to await that shit everywhere or do the crazy thing we're doing right now.
Well, I mean, most callers would await a task too, right?
Yeah, but in cases where you're returning a task directly, you have to know await that task or do the crazy thing.
Yeah, there are some downsides to value task. If all you're doing is you're just awaiting it, and you know if you're getting benefits because the thing you're calling is using a pooled value task source and whatnot, then value task is a clear win. Or if it's synchronously returning and it returns a result, so it's a value task of T. But value task is it's a struct that's larger than a single pointer. So it's if you're storing this thing, when you await this, like your state machine is going to be larger than if you were just awaiting a task. Usability wise, it's missing a bunch of things that task has. So there are downsides to value task.
Make it virtual though, and you do the copy from async on the wrap stream. It can just like get the stream and call copy to async from the stream to the stream. That's an optimized way of doing it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I like it. Make it virtual.
But
make it
I
faster.
think it should be virtual. So a few things. One, I like having the copy to async wrapper.
Yep.
Assuming it's virtual, I like it being virtual. I'm fine with it returning value task, but I do question why this returns value task and not value task flush result.
Yeah, make it task.
Well, what I don't understand is what you want from the flush result. Like, is there any property on it that would be useful or something?
I don't know. Why does write async return a flush result?
Yeah.
Historical.
Wait.
Oh, so that's useless.
It's because in the default pipe case, there's a reader on the other side, and that kind of tells you if the reader is done consuming.
There's an is canceled value.
And it's completed.
And it's completed.
Yeah.
And it's for the other side. In the case where you have two sides.
So in the
But in this
case of the
you don't have
copy
to
to async, it would always be completed.
Correct.
So
There's no value in
you
having
could
it.
get canceled theoretically.
If,
Are we
no,
talking
but in
about
case of
readers
cancellation
copy
token
to
cancellation,
async
we
or
have to
writers
throw.
Well, there's the other API though. You got to remember that Pipereader has cancel pending read. So we do want to think about how we deal with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on.
I mean, I'm honestly, I haven't used flush results, so I don't know when I would. It just seems inconsistent to
Yeah,
Jeremy's point.
it's a good point.
Where do you have it
Especially
on the pipe writer case, not pipe reader case, right?
Yeah, so I thought we were talking about pipe writer copy
It can be
from
in the
a
read
string,
case.
saying that it should be just
Yeah,
an
that's the
overload
right
of write
Okay, in the
async.
right case makes sense, not the read case.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, that's why we're talking about
Copy,
flush result.
copy from async. We're just talking about.
So copy from async, you could do. I'm thinking if you call cancel pending write flush, cancel pending flush there,
Yeah, we should break the loop
and return you the result.
and return the cancel result.
Well, but there's a similar analogy between like the flush result and the read result as far as like is canceled. And
This
Again,
would be
to me, this
consistent.
is just an overload of write async. You just take stream instead of read-only memory. That's the difference. So the same semantics write async has, it should have, because this should be called write async and it should be an overload.
And also because underneath it's gonna do write async.
yeah,
I mean, okay, to be fair, like the same host for stream, right? Stream could have been copy to async could have been called stream not write async in a different stream.
Yeah, I think Christoph just said he wished it was called.
Other platforms have the same like so Go has copy to and copy from the same with like stream are things do, right? So it's not a bad thing. It's just a different name because it's a bigger thing growing than a single write. It's multiple writes in a single call, but it seems to be chunkier. So it's not like it's not a straight write this thing. It's a copy these contents using a bunch of writes to a different source. That's why it's not just the same as
I think there's some.
single write.
Yeah, but
I
if you
think
took
that-
read-only sequence, you would have called it right, and
No.
it would have been multiple
I
right.
It's a buffer
no, I
memory
think there's
versus a
some.
thing that
I
comes
think
from
there's
somewhere
some
else.
reason.
that's the biggest difference. One's over time, the other's already. there.
Sorry,
Go for it, Steven.
So I think there's some validity to what David's saying, and that is, if I call write and I give it, read-only memory, the only I/O operations I'm performing are writes. If I give it a stream, I'm also performing reads.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If
But I
you,
wonder whether it matters.
does.
So if you call an async method somewhere in framework or in your library, it may be doing many async
It's true.
reads, writes. You never know.
It's true.
So I don't think there's an expectation if it's an async method can only do async one way.
It is no, but the copy to implies that it's chunkier. I'm doing a bunch more work than just like a single call to write. Right?
I think these names are very obvious to the like if I'm looking
Yeah.
for a stream, like a way to copy it to a pipe or vice versa. That would be the first
Okay,
thing.
this
I would
one is
Google.
a bit stronger argument.
It's historical.
I agree.
It's historical.
There is a precedence.
Yeah.
It's a precedence argument.
Well, let me also ask this: Is anyone going to ever use copy from async, or are they just going to use copy to async
Copy to
on the
async,
stream?
I think on the stream is the main case.
Yeah.
I think having a virtual is just there so we can optimize in some cases.
I
So
think
should
it's
it actually
for
be
people who want to
protected?
get started using pipes, right? This gives them an easy way to
Yes.
copy from async to try it out with modern
But
stuff. Like even if you're using like
should
a socket API.
Copy from async be protected?
Yeah, it could be. Yes. Yeah.
Protected.
Why would it be? How do you access it from extension method if it's protected?
There would have to be a
that's
public
the issue.
one that calls the
Yeah,
protected one.
it has to be public.
Well,
Why is
Internal.
it public?
Because
No.
Protected internal?
Isn't it all in system IO pipelines?
Yeah, it could be internal.
yeah, but we want if we want optimized implementations, the one that we
Still
would
fine.
have would be
Right.
in Kestrel.
Yeah.
Like if we have something.
But
No, but that's fine. You override
You
override the protected method.
It will be protected internal, so it can be both protected and
Yeah.
So normal users aren't going to be able to call copy from async.
Yeah,
yeah.
they would be able
They
to
don't even-
override it.
We have there's the extension method from stream copy 2.
Okay,
Which
Yeah.
I see.
It's more natural.
we've
Anyway.
said we'll have to forward to
in
this one.
an ideal
All right.
world,
I
you've got
hear you.
yeah. I mean, sort of in an ideal world, you've got copy to async from stream to pipe, and you've got copy to async from pipe to stream. We're not doing a virtual copy to async on stream because
Yes.
of layering and whatnot, but having the extension method and then a protected internal copy from async kind of achieves the same thing.
That's nice.
So are you guys overriding copy to async that is on stream to special case if the destination stream is a stream that was produced from a pipe writer?
Copy from yes.
No,
Kestrel
copy to async on
overrides.
stream.
Yes.
Talking about
Yeah,
stream.copy
they do
to.
both. Yes. Stream? No. Pipe reader, yes.
But that's what I'm saying. So there's a virtual method on stream, copy to async, that takes a destination stream. I'm asking, are you overriding this to special case the case that the stream that was passed in is a stream that was produced from a pipe writer?
It wouldn't
Would that help?
It
Well,
would
the
be
question is whether you have a scenario where this occurs. Would you expect that to be able to
not
bypass
yet.
this?
We didn't get
Yes.
that far.
It might actually. It might. We might be able to
Why do you ask,
optimize
Timo?
this.
Well, I'm asking because
You
it's like
still have to
it's,
call it get
depending
memory,
on
right?
which
Or
direction
just
you're
that
going with, you
memory.
might get
That's kind of
drafted a
bad,
different
though.
perf,
We
right?
have buffer memory in
But-
the pipe reader.
Right now,
Copy that
there's
first.
the stream type on this isn't
And we
public,
copy
so
them.
the
Well,
only
if
way
you
that you
just
can
wanna
do the
try to
as
stream
test
with my
on it
bot.
is to be inside the
No, you
pipeline
don't.
thing, which is not
That's
the same
about
assembly as where
optimization.
stream lives, so the
About
base
optimization.
class can't do it.
You don't copy.
And then who's going to do it now?
Sure, what do you mean Basis can do it? I'm talking about their stream, right? Their
We
pipeline
override it,
stream can override copy to async
It
and
would.
then downcast the stream that it receives.
Oh, sure it could.
It could, yeah.
Doesn't matter.
This is really good. I figured it was it.
Yeah, my suggestion is we go with the protected internal copy from async, and I only say that because copy from async is such an unusual name in .NET that it's kind of nice to hide it from the public surface area.
Yeah.
And then we go with that. Kestrel plums it all the way through, and we see if we hit any issues.
And then do you have opinions on task versus value task for it, Steve? I know that you and should it
I
be
mean, I'm
reflected?
fine if we think that there are optimizations that can be done by returning value task rate. I'm a little skeptical, but given that we're talking about this living on PipeWriter, and PipeWriter is doing caching of stuff already, and I think it's already implementing iValue task source and whatnot, then maybe it actually could. And so in that case, like for PipeWriter.write write async today on PipeWriter, that's already returning a value task that wraps an iValue task source, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in theory, we might be able to do the same thing with copy from async.
No, we should return flash result.
Yeah.
And if you return flash result, it has to be valid test.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
And so then, because the very last line of copy from async is just returning the last call to write async, so
Yes.
What about the reader?
I don't think read result is any different in that.
You know what? I maybe so we could maybe do
The
that.
result is buffer.
I know.
It doesn't
Like
fit.
you would have to clear it out.
We can't. No, we can't do it. That's Ace point is doing it that way.
all right. So
It's weird.
PipeWriter
I think
becomes
Maybe another thing.
The
then.
workaround is to throw for cancellation for those methods.
protected internal value task of
No, hold on,
flush result
Hold on,
copy
hold on.
from async.
hold on. Instead of that, let's keep it. Let's make it task, and just throw for cancellation.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's clean it that way.
Both reader and writer?
Because like the result types have stuff on them that kind of only makes sense in the pipe case, not for
Like is completed, like in the normal write.
yeah. And since these are chunkier writes, it doesn't hurt that much to throw.
I guess, and it makes sense
So,
because stream copy to async is returning task.
task.
So then the extension method would return task.
Yep.
this will return task.
Well, but is completed, you're gonna use it inside the
Inside.
streaming
correct.
implementation. So when you detect that it's completed, next read on the stream would basically immediately return 0, correct?
Yes.
Flush is a little bit more interesting, right? Because the reader can complete prior to you copying all the data.
Mhm.
And like, do we stop copying if the reader's completed?
Yes.
Do we?
Mhm.
So it's kind of not deterministic how much of the stream you're copying from you actually read.
Doesn't matter. You're copying into a stream that's done. You'll be copying anyway.
Fair.
So,
Into a no-op.
Like nobody can read it.
I mean, it does change the state of the stream in that, like, the next read might return 0 again, or it might return more data.
Yeah,
Now, does that matter?
we
I
can
don't know.
choose to make it keep copying it. It's
Nah,
not
we
big.
shouldn't. I think
main-
we shouldn't. Like that's our main thing. You can tell other sides when
sides.
you're done.
Yeah, but we don't communicate why it canceled. Like, we don't know when we're done copying from a stream. Is it the stream that completed, or is
the
it
reader.
the reader?
Sure.
It's kind of
I still
weird.
want flush result return. So.
Yeah, maybe not a flush result, but don't you
Nope.
think it should?
Nope.
Don't you think there should be a reasonable way to determine why the copy to async operation completed?
Usually, you don't care
Add
about
more
stream
exceptions.
after copy to async.
Usually, the only way
it
it fails is if an operation throws, like read or write,
we could throw.
or you stop. Yeah, throwing
throw.
when the reader completes makes more sense actually.
We could throw.
Yeah, almost like cancellation. Because the only way for copy to async to successfully complete today with like the stream APIs is reading the entire stream, which wouldn't be the case with what we were talking about here.
Doesn't matter. That's what I'm
So,
asking.
except for someone who's not as steeped in pipe, what situation would copy to async?
Not
From a
read the
stream
entire
to-
stream.
There's one case where you have an actual pipe, where if the reader says it's complete, where it's done consuming buffers, but the writer is still going, the loop in copy to async could stop
I see.
if we chose to make it stop.
So there's like an additional way for the loop to stop that wouldn't happen with just streams. That's
What
not
do
acceptable.
writers typically do today in that situation?
They stop.
And do what?
They stop producing. So for example, in Castrol, if we're reading from a network stream and writing into a buffer, that loop would stop because Flush would say that the reader is done,
Normally we clean up the
and
connection
we just
at that
call
point.
like done.
Yeah.
It would stop producing data.
Yeah, so it was the comment that someone made just then. I couldn't hear who.
Normally we clean up the
connection.
connection.
So you need to know. Is it the issue? You need to know when the copy is done, whether it was because you copied everything.
That's what
or
I'm trying to
because-
tease. I'm trying to think about it because you would normally clean up the connection when the raw, SSL stream was done producing data too. So is it like really any different from the caller of copy to async? That's kind of what I'm trying to figure out is should the return value indicate why copy to async completed?
Yeah, I think no. Mostly because I don't want the API to be weird and Rights already messed up.
So on pipe reader, we think replace the current copy to async with public virtual task copy to async.
Yep.
And on the writer, it becomes
Wait, I was protecting internal.
No,
No, it's on the writer.
The first is
Oh.
public. The second one is
it's protected
Internal.
internal virtual copy or task copy from async.
And the only oddity there is you lack a little bit of symmetry between pipe reader and pipe writer.
yeah.
But that's
That's
probably the least of the concerns.
Yeah, that's not new.
But-
Though. They're very different. They're super different today.
Yeah, it's hard to tell just from the additions here.
Yeah, and you keep the symmetry in terms of you can copy from reader to stream and from stream to writer, so that
Yeah,
symmetry
you
is still
keep the
there.
symmetry in terms of the APIs you're calling, which I really like. It's just in terms of looking at the definitions. But if there's other stuff on here that's very different,
Yeah,
then
it's
like
very different.
I think
I
it's
think we should try
reasonable.
it, assume it's going to work, and if there are any issues that pop up, we revisit.
Yeah.
I think it's reasonable not to have a return value, and if you really care, you have to write your own loop.
Yes.
Yeah, it's also not a really hard loop to write.
Yeah.
This is aside. There's no way to have an adapter between iBuffer writer and stream. It has to be pipe writer.
Yeah, that's the other meeting you scheduled.
Have it on stream. Yeah.
We need to review other issue. Other API change.
Yeah, I got it here.
You got it?
So I mean, presumably, if we were to, can you scroll down, Emo? Second.
Does I have my mouse again? Yep. No.
I mean, what would happen if we made this copy to async overload take an iBuffer writer as its second argument, and the implementation did a type test for pipe writer and called the virtual if it existed, otherwise had some fallback?
It did a typecast and called it virtual. Sorry, I must have missed that part.
Yeah.
Interface dispatch.
Okay. For faster invocation.
And absence of flash.
Yeah, no,
So-
flush kills it, I think.
So instead of like reading
Oh.
2K, writing 2K, flashing it out, you'll read entire contents of the stream in memory before flashing it.
Why doesn't iBuffer writer have flushing on it?
Good question.
Amazing
It's
question.
not like a IO API as much.
It's more memory
It's
management
synchronous,
API
yeah.
than
It's
the IO
synchronous.
API.
It's more like a string builder than it is like a
Stream, yeah.
Yeah.
We used to have iasync pipe buffer writer.
Yeah.
We never had that.
Yeah, we had.
We had a single discussion where it came up.
Yeah, we never made it. Yeah, it was never real.
It may still be in CoreFX.
It was never in Corvus Lab. Not once.
I'm pretty sure that.
I don't think I saw it, but
It was just one conversation, but Christopher was still bitter about it.
Yeah, he was salty.
That's what.
He was salty about it. We never.
No. Then we had a discussion and we decided that we can add it later.
Are you saying now is later?
Yeah.
It is though.
Maybe.
We have to review the
Because we have this, we have very
Yeah, we
similar
have
problem with the
Yeah.
That's on
JSON.
schedule one.
we will carry this to
Right,
tomorrow.
right.
Let's continue this.
Snowmageddon, bro.
Oh.
Snowmageddon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're done with this. Let's go
Is
to.
everyone happy?
Well,
Yes.
I don't know yet. I have a hard time picturing together what we just reviewed. I took a bunch of notes, but I have
But
a
I'm
hard
super
time
happy, so it's all good.
pre-visualizing the result.
Well, the procedure is now the owners take the feedback and update the
Yeah, well, we're
proposal.
updated.
Yeah.
It's theory
I see the owners are doing it on the fly.
89.4.
Wait, did you put a comment in email with all the changes?
Well,
Or you just put approval?
no. I published the notes later. I'm not good with
We erased all
typing
the
on the
changes.
screen.
It's all destroyed. First off fault.
Mm-mm.
So no duplex wipe.
Yeah, we didn't. We killed the.
And we keep the create methods, correct?
Yes.
Typewriter.create from a stream, yes, that still exists.
The main reason you want it right is because we're not going to have like socket.pipe. So.
Yeah.
So why are they factory methods not?
The constructors, because they're not. Because pipewriter is abstract. Doesn't show, but pipewriter and pipereader are abstract.
I see.
Oops.
Oh, oops.
I mean,
Great.
I didn't put it there.
We also didn't put partial,
Oops.
which is what we usually do to indicate
messed up.
there's other stuff here that we're not talking about.
I was like, do you put like dots or do you just put? I don't know. How you
Just put partial in
We
it.
write the
Is it
word
partial? Is that
partial.
what you do?
That's what we do,
Yeah.
and at least
No, I
that's what
know.
I've done in all my proposals that modify existing types.
I've done both.
See, see,
Yeah, I generally put dots to indicate.
see. Yeah. So I was thinking dots too. I was like, dots seems more,
Yeah.
seems more reasonable.
Well, the only reason why we put the existing APIs as comments is because we want to indicate how the new APIs fit in with the old ones, which is usually useful for overloads or other things when you really want to see the other ones in context. Otherwise, nobody cares. The only thing that's important is like, is this a new type we're adding or is it an existing type? And partial kind of is the
Partial
comments
is also
version of
if
that.
you ran the contract generator, it wrote the word partial, and then you just copy and paste your blob into it.
So who forced you to put the setter back on the options?
We just didn't clean it up.
So, but you're still not idempotent, right? And that's okay for the factory methods, right? Because you cannot be idempotent for all the options, right?
Yeah.
Like that would be crazy.
By the way, just naming, the properties are called memory pool, but the parameter will remain called pool.
Yeah, we'll clean it up.
But I thought like 5 options, you were being consistent with 5 options.
We'll copy whatever.
Yeah, we'll copy whatever.
Yeah. Dot create for stream. Yeah, that makes sense.
And
That has to allocate it. We'll run that thing. Yep. Okay.
and we settled on no public stream type, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, 5 option has a pool, not memory pool. which is good. Which is what Christoph wanted anyway.
So anything else, or should we review the other issue?
Yes, let's do the other issue. Super tiny.
Is somebody saying something online? Oh, not like it.
Is everyone happy? Yeah?
Yeah.
This is great.
Ooh.
Yeah, we need the eye async buffer.
The problem is that I was hoping that the adapter would help iBuffer case, but it doesn't.
No.
It has pipe and stream, but not the abstraction that pipe implements.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe if we decide something good with the iAsync buffer writer, we'll modify
Change
this
it, yeah.
proposal to be iAsync buffer writer. So we have this very convoluted error in pipe when writer is awaiting back pressure, so it crossed the back pressure threshold, and reader needs more data. Like it looked at the data it currently has, and it says, "I need more data." It's a deadlock situation because one cannot write more and the other cannot read because it needs more.
Does it happen in practice?
Yeah, that's why
How?
it has
Who sets the threshold?
length prefix protocols when you limit buffer size.
I see. The prefix tells you read 2 gigs of data.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's when you don't have a max single message size that is less than the buffer max.
Right. So to give you some context, obviously pipe handles a lot of your buffering for you when you're parsing like length prefix things, right? So for Kestrel parsing headers, we let you actually configure this
Max size.
Yeah, this max buffer size via Kestrel options. And if it's only Kestrel parsing its own headers and stuff, that will be fine because when you actually start Kestrel, when you construct it, it will fail if you basically set a buffer limit that's too small to actually read the headers or something like that. The problem is once we expose the pipe that someone else creates to someone else for parsing. And in general, like if you misconfigured it and you didn't do things right.
Basically, the
quickly
reading code
identify.
can be resilient to this
Yes,
situation.
exactly.
Can try to read the whole thing. Read
Yeah.
the prefix, and then instead of reading in chunks,
Yeah.
There is
it like says,
Yeah.
"Give me everything."
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
So I completely understand providing a better error message. What's the reason for the custom exception type?
so sometimes things that give you pipe can give you a better error message or tell you where to set the limit to allow you to read more. And to do this, it would be nice to have a separate exception type that they can catch and transform into a more reasonable and more usable error.
But that's
It's
so
control
you can-
code via exceptions.
Yeah.
No, no,
So
no.
SignalR wants to show you how to configure in SignalR its pipes, and therefore wants to catch specifically this exception.
Well, no. But the handler, so you would catch it and what programmatically you would adjust your program? No, you just change your program, implement your reading.
No.
They want to
Or-
change the exception to tell you where to really configure.
You can change options. Like if you just need a bit more space,
Yeah.
you can go and say SignalR options max size.
Yeah, you would do it by recompiling a program.
Right. So
That's not a scenario for
Imagine
catching
that-
exceptions.
All right.
That's a scenario for showing a dialog box
Yeah.
that says.
All right, one moment,
And you
please,
can
right?
do it with the base exception type.
All right, but imagine you're writing the code that puts up the dialog box, or you're Kestrel, and you're trying to show them where to configure this in Kestrel options, or you're SignalR, and you're trying to tell the developer where to configure it in SignalR options.
Yeah.
It helps if you can catch that exception type and then throw a SignalR exception or a Kestrel exception or something that gives you details on how to actually configure it for your framework.
Like not every invalid operation exception from
I
pipe
see
is
what you're
this.
saying.
There are all, like,
This would be an exception that things that use pipes catch.
Yeah.
Yes.
To
to give more information
give
about
more
how to
information.
override this error or fix it or
I can see that.
amazing.
Anybody's gonna actually do it?
It's pair is open.
No. I mean, Kestrel is gonna
Yeah,
catch
SignalR
this
is gonna-
exception.
SignalR is gonna do it.
SignalR is the first thing to use.
Okay. Then I don't have a concern.
This would be in System.io pipelines.
Yeah.
Are there other such things that are going to come down the pipe, no pun intended, of like other cases where there's configuration to be set?
We think we need to fix this issue more in a different way.
But for now, this is
Yeah, but for now, this gives people a clue as to what to do.
Sorry, we need to fix it. So does that mean this exception won't be thrown in like 2 releases?
Maybe.
What are you thinking? How would you fix it?
Like
So-
pass max read size into read async.
Yeah.
Like I want to read 2 gigs no matter what your limit is, and override back
Yeah.
pressure limit.
That idea
Yeah.
came up the first go around of pipelines, but it was too late.
Right. So things like that. But this exception will still be thrown in some cases, but will give you way to
There would be a
avoid
better workaround in
Yeah.
the future.
better workaround than just increasing buffer sizes somewhere. Or rewriting your reader.
Well, but to me the fix is the reading code needs to be smarter.
That's,
Sure,
Yes,
yeah.
that's the fix.
But until the world is full of two arrays and JSON, newtons of JSON serializers, that's what we get.
Okay.
So the question: Do we need the custom exception type then?
Wait, we just discussed why we did.
I'm wondering if the signaler we were going to catch the error and say something different,
Right.
but
Okay, it can be just
I'm wondering if we should change our code to make it different than it.
message pack, right? Sometimes you read the prefix and then you need to read everything to stick it into serializer.
Today we use the pipe itself as the limit. Maybe we just fix it.
Maybe we should use buffer in the meantime. And pipe.
I don't see how you would fix it though. There would always be a risk that someone using pipes directly could go over that limit, and if you want to tell them how to reconfigure SignalR, like
So we have to have a better error in pipes regardless.
I know.
I think the only difference is that if you are consuming a pipe, you have to kind of know the limit and set your limits under that limit to throw a better error.
the biggest issue is that the consumer of the pipe is
has no idea.
is
where it came
often
from.
not the creator of the pipe.
Yeah, that's it.
And the creator of the pipe often might want to wrap that exception, so
But
you
now
can
you're
say
doing-
how to create the pipe to work around it.
But now you are arguing
We
against this exception because it's
He is,
saying
and I
the
don't get it.
person who creates the pipe and the person who reads are not
Yeah.
the same. Therefore, the exception and the additional message won't help the
Yeah.
reader. They will be like, well, yeah, you told me to pass the options, but I don't even.
Yeah, but you don't create the pipe directly, but you create something else, giving it some options that later creates the pipe. Like you set up SignalR that creates the pipe.
And then
It seems
SignalR
like
can tell you how
we
you
make
make SignalR options
We
to
make
configure it.
Sorry, it just seems like we make the error message fairly descriptive, and then the SignalR documentation says, you get the following issue. These are the things that may be
Yeah,
wrong.
maybe it's fine.
Yeah, let's do that. Scrutiny type.
Because where was the other thing is like it's not the easiest thing to catch and rethrow anyway.
Right?
All right, let's fix the error
Issue
message.
closed.
We have time left, right? Let's do 10 more APIs
No.
that I care about.
Evo,
I'm impressed by this.
close
So-
it, say just update the error message.
So no new exception.
No, yeah, close it. Close it.
No, don't close the bug.
We already have so many exceptions.
Like part of it is exception, part of it is fixing
Throw out of
the
memory.
message.
Exception.
Well, I mean, added here.
Perfect. We already have the type. Let's reuse it.
Should have started with just system.exception.
Well, out of memory kind of makes sense in this case.
It actually
You're
does.
trying to read 2 gigs? No. We don't have that much memory for you.
I know. I got it.
Any other changes? Is that it, basically?
And I guess remove the API ready for review label because no longer a new API.
API approved.
Oh, and also add docs to SignalR. Yeah, we'll remember that.
No hindering.
No, yeah.
Exactly.
Steven, question about continuation scheduling. Why don't we have a stack guard in run continuation?
There's an issue open about it.
Oh, cool. I have a crash dump from a
This is
customer.
that light and
Okay, you mean this is for like awaits, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right now it was originally written applying to normal continuids, and then it just never got propagated or refactored to apply to every other kind of continuation.
It's a nice robot.
We would need to measure it and make sure it didn't impact things significantly, but my guess is it would be mostly within the noise.
Hold on.
So I don't have any strong concerns. We just never did it.
Someone Stack Overflow.
Yeah, somebody
With
Stack
async await.
Stack
Async
Overflow
await.
with async await. Yeah.
That's
they
an
do?
awesome.
Not even with the
Basically a bunch of synchronous completion.
they did HTTP client and then they did MVC invoke action and then they did a bunch of filters
on.
and then they did it
On IIS.
on
And
a
In process.
yeah, half the stack, but it's 512K of stack. It's not.
There are two places that I've seen this happen. One is people that aren't that are doing very convoluted things to hook up kind of infinite chains of continuations. The other is long chains of exceptions. And
Yes.
unfortunately, the way that we generate code,
Yeah, so,
every time an exception is thrown, there's a pretty significant piece of stack taken up.
so I had that too, but this one is not exceptions. It's just a lot of like HTTP client and then retry handler and then a bunch of MVC filters and then one after
I would
another.
expect you
Are these? Is this?
you need
is
like
there just too
several
many
thousand
frames
frames.
that aware
That's not the
focus?
case.
No, it's around 250 frames, and it takes around 470K of stack space.
Those must be big frames.
Yeah, some of them might. I can share the details.
Yeah,
The
but
problem
see it.
is, Async Core didn't really know maybe the impact of nested. Async
Wait,
continuation.
so what makes you sure that this is like async await related and not just like super nested, like normal code?
I've seen the stack.
Okay, and it's just like a bunch of
Like a bunch
uncompleted
of run
calls.
continuation and uncompleted. And it's not set exceptions.
Yeah,
I'll
just
send you an email. Yeah.
Anyhow, I mean, the continuation guard thing, like, if someone wants to go and do it, I don't, and as long as we demonstrate that it doesn't regress perf measurably, I'm fine with it.
Sounds good. Okay, are we done?
I think we are.
Wow.
Are we? Any more reviews you want to add? Just ask some stuff in there.
Yeah, let's do a quick talk about IIS in buffer writer.
I do have a question. I have a question for you though. If we add a text writer that supports iBuffer writer, where would that go in the framework?
Buffer writer is in system memory, so that's fine. The layering is fine.
Where do we add APIs that need to interrupt between system memory stuff and like the rest of the BCL? Do they go into Corelib?
No, because if it's iBuffer is not in CoreLib,
Yeah, it's
It's
system
not in
memory.
Corelib.
it's system memory.
How
So
low is that?
it's above CoreLib.
Okay.
I think text writer. I don't know where text writer is.
So,
Text-
so basically,
text writer is-
every new thing has to go into that assembly.
Yeah. At
All
least-
the integrations go there.
That was the plan from the get.
What's the plan?
We
Except
go back to system runtime.dll and then everything else is in system memory.dll.
except that's only net core.
I see. Okay, because we need a bunch of types. I want to add. I'll send an email next week to email. Have him do another
That's
review.
never the good start to a discussion.
All right, let's go and eat Montoon.
That sounds like a reasonable plan to me.
Wait, really?
Especially that I need to be back at 1.
Yeah, I would assess that.
David, you're still into Montoon?
I got top of I think we have to cancel it.
So, Stephen, I would invite you to our lunch, but your travel might take too long for us to wait.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
All right, see you later.
Enjoy.
He's been getting Montoon for real. Hold on.
Are we
hold
done
on.
streaming?
Not yet. I need
Let
to
me-
press the
let me See if
button.
I can cancel it. Maybe things.
All right. Bye, guys online.